today I want to look at this set. It's a 24 color set by Derwent and it's called Graphite Tint. So this specific pencil was something that really stood out to me because it's an interesting concept. So it says here, tinted water-soluble graphite pencils. Now I do love working with water-soluble graphite pencils, and one of my favorite ones is this Technalo Caran d'Ache 6B pencil. So what happens typically if you're new to this sort of thing, I'll just show you quickly. So when it's dry, it looks like a regular graphite pencil, right? Then if I'm going to now say take a bit of water and go ahead and wet the graphite, this is what I'm going to get. There's loads of different techniques you can do. One of my favorite one is this one, just wetting the surface and then dragging your water-soluble mediums through it, and you can create loads of interesting effects. So basically that's the difference from a regular graphite. Okay, now when I was using this one, I then realized that there was actually a set, and the set is this one here, Caran d'Ache water-soluble set. So the range is called Technalo because this is the water-soluble graphite range. And this particular set has a few things in here. So it's got the 6B pencil, the 3B in just regular graphite, and then, as you can see, these three are actually tinted graphites. Now, I was very excited about it, and mind you, this set is not within the affordable range, so it was actually quite painful to buy, and I saved up a little bit of money to get it. Because I wasn't sure that I absolutely had to have it in my art supplies arsenal and what I'm going to use it regularly. I decided to go for it, and to be honest with you, I am not really using these tinted since I purchased them because I feel that there is not enough pigment. But I love their regular graphite. So let me just quickly show you a color example. There are three colors here. One is dark Telecynine green, one is Prussian blue and Carmine Lake. I'll show you one just because the others are exactly the same thing. So on paper it sort of looks pretty much like a regular graphite. I can't really pick up any color difference, but when we're going to wet it, there's going to be tiny little bit of color. And I mean, I'm not dissing these pencils because they are gorgeous quality and they are beautiful, especially if you haven't had tinted graphites before. This is, you know, something quite different, and you can create beautiful art with very muted color palette where this type of a pencil would be fantastic. So I'm just going to show you what happens if you just drag it in like that. So you can see, you can get really neat results and effects, especially in this technique. It's kind of more saturated, and so you can play around, you know, you can create something a bit more light and washed out and more detail. Okay, so this is like treated like a pre-word. Then I wanted to show you just a regular watercolor pencil. This is also by Caran d'Ache. I have really discovered quite a few of their products in the last probably 6 months, and have realized what a fantastic brand they are and the quality of their pencils and crayons. So the pigments they use in their pencils and crayons is second to none. It's really up there. So this is the Museum Aquarelle pencil. Don't confuse it with the other one that they have, because this is the one that's like a professional grade, artist grade. So this is obviously nothing to do with graphite, but I just want to show you the difference between graphite pencil, tinted graphite, a regular watercolor pencil, and then these guys, so that you can see the difference. So just looks normal dry, and then you wet it and it kind of behaves like a like a water soluble product, so you can make it look like watercolor really. And then let's do it on the little wet area here. Maybe not the best color to show you with, maybe I should have gone for a more darker saturated, but you get the idea. So here we go. And then now let's look at the graph tints. So when I was purchasing them, I kind of thought that it might be somewhere between, this. So it would be a graph tint that obviously would come in lovely 24 colors, but it would be muted because it's supposed to be a graphite pencil. However, these are amazing. So let me, before we dive into it, just show you the back. Gives you a bit of information here, and it says, use dry Derwent Graphite Tint, provides just a hint of color, but adding water transforms the tint into rich, vibrant shades. Available in 24 color tints, so these are the, I think there is also smaller sets, 12, but there isn't any bigger sets, I checked, trust me. Ranging from soft grays, blues and greens, to glowing russets, plums and browns. Derwent Graphite Tint is ideal for landscapes, animal studies and portraits. Now, for me personally, I scrubbed the first two. Portraits is what I really would love to use these guys for. So, here is what they look like. They are a nice silver color, and then at the bottom you have the color indication. So if we're looking at the colors, there is lovely range of grays here, cold and warm grays, very, very pretty colors like this sage gray. It's called cool gray actually. And then we have something that looks like a beige. Now obviously looking at the tip and looking at the lead, they don't match, so I'm quite intrigued to see what the actual color will be, and I will be doing this swatch for the first time, so I have been quite busy actually. I've been filming my first online course. I'll link it up here for you to see the launch video. So yeah, it's been super busy and haven't had time to play with them, but I'm so kind of keen. My fingers feel itchy to really get into these because these are fantastic. The only pencil I have tried so far is this color here, Meadow, and I absolutely loved it. So I have the feeling of how these work, and that's why I really want to share it with you. Then we have these sort of browns, which are great for skin tones, couple of greens, which are beautiful, absolutely great for botanical work. Then we have a few blues. We'll see how I feel about them, and then a couple of plums and purples type of thing. There's one grey here which looks almost like a lilac grey, but the lead looks very dark, so we'll see how that is. And obviously because it's at this end, I would assume that it's more in this color family. They start from 01 and go all the way up to 24, so that's quite easy to kind of match them in the color arrangement. If you're one of those like me, I personally love to keep the original color arrangement of my art supplies. Anyways, so to begin with, I'm just going to show you a matching color somewhere in here. Let's pick blue. What is this blue? Shadow, ocean blue. The colors are quite nicely named, so they're not the typical colors. Let's see. I think I'm going to go for this color here, Shadow. So straight off, let's do a comparison, and then we go into the into the swatches. So to begin with, there's a big difference in the lead textures. So if you look at the graph tint here, or the Tecnalo pencils, which were tinted graphite, you can see on paper it looks exactly like a regular graphite pencil. However, this one looks very much texture-wise like a water soluble pencil. So that's texture-wise. Color-wise, it has that sort of mix between muted and graphite. So I wouldn't really say it looks like a colored pencil, so it doesn't have enough brightness of the pigment as this pencil would have. So it's more muted when it's dry. When I'm trying to blend it or see if there's any movement with my finger, smudging, a little bit of pigment comes off that, but there is not much smudging at all. So you could work with them in a variation of leaving them dry and wet. So now let's go in, get my brush wet first of all, with a wet brush, and you can see the beautiful pigment you get. So the line you can completely dissolve and move the pigment around like so. So straight away, comparing it to the Tecnalo pencil, you can see that there is definitely more pigment, and it's sort of, when dry, resembles graphite, but when it's wet, it is very much like a water soluble pencil. Yeah. So there you go. And then let's try on the wet. So it's more, if you don't like basically a pencil, the graphite, you know, when you kind of make it wet and it makes a mess, it makes your art more kind of dulled down, then this one has more pigment. So again, if you look at here, you can see the pigment dissolving into the water and kind of moving a little bit, but you get a lot of the darkness. Here you don't have that graphite darkness, you have a pigment straight up. So it's very hard to tell once it's wet that it's a graphite pencil. But if you want to, like I said, in the same piece of art, to use them as dry, which will make them look like graphite pencils or tinted graphite pencils, then adding a bit of water, straight away you're going into a different league. So that's the difference. I kind of thought it would be more like this, but with color, and that's where I was getting confused, thinking, how on earth would they manage more pigment, more vibrancy, as they say, but having obviously the graphite there. So somehow they created a recipe for this pencil where when it's wet it's just pure pigment and it's just beautiful. So let's go in and swatch all of them out, and then maybe I'll try to mix them if I have enough time on this bit of paper that's left here, just to see how the pigments mix. Okay, let's go in. So I'll start with the one and go up to 24. Oh god, I had a big lunch. Had some stuffed wine leaves, which I absolutely love, with halloumi and yogurt, and these beautiful plum tomatoes that I got at the farm shop the other day. And it's all very tasty, but I had a bit too much of it. Okay, so this color is Port. Okay, 01 Port. Let's start with that. So definitely when they're wet, there is an element of a mix of, oh, that's quite interesting. So you actually get this mix. So depending where it hits, although I can't really notice that in the lead, but when you are sort of drawing with it, here you can see, hopefully on the swatch, can you see where it's a bit of graphite lines here and there? So it's not mixed in, it sort of comes up a little bit. And then when I'm going to add water, that immediately becomes beautiful. Very, very pretty. And like I said, you can move the lines completely. So, you know the Derwent Inktense, with them you can't move the line 100%. So you would struggle a little bit. These are a bit more creamier, so I find that you can easily move the line. And the colors, they are, how shall I say, they're not super bright. They are slightly muted, but they're vibrant. It's difficult to explain, but you know, for a graphite, this is quite vibrant. But if you would sort of look at another pencil, which is just watercolor pencil, this would be on a muted side. Okay, number 2, juniper, sorry. So again, dry, looks very much like a tinted graphite. And mind you, these are not very sharp tips, so if I would want to create a detail, I would sharpen them a lot to a more pointier tip, and you know, create a thinner line, because at the moment you can see they're kind of sort of chopped, and that's how they came. So let's see. Beautiful. Oh goodness, I love this color palette. It's just so pretty. That would be absolutely gorgeous for a portrait piece or illustration. Aubergine. As I mentioned before, I love their color names. So this one is a bit more purpley, but still on a more kind of muted side. Number 4, we have dark indigo. I was so happy to do this video for you today because, as I said, I just finished filming the course, and I feel like I just want to relax and do something quite therapeutic, and a lot of hard work went into creating an online course, which I had no idea. I thought I didn't think it would be as a lot of hard and long work that had to go in. So this is shadow number 5. And yeah, so something like doing swatches or book reviews is just perfect. Hence why you will have quite a few book reviews and swatches coming. I'm also planning to do more painting as well. I really enjoyed doing that collab with Irid. You know, maybe at someday maybe we repeat something similar, but yeah, it was super fun, and it really ignites you, it inspires you doing it with another artist. You know, I would really highly recommend you do a similar thing with a friend or something. Just you know, suggest something like a subject to play or paint, and do sort of maybe find a picture of flowers in your gardens. That's always fun to do. This is Steel Blue 06, and yeah, and then you can just have fun and see what the other person has used in their piece, and it's just super inspiring. You know, artists need to take their inspiration somewhere too, and we just inspire each other in some cases. So next one, so that was Still Blue, gorgeous color. Now let's get to Ocean Blue. So straight off, when I saw this pencil, I thought it's going to have like a really bright turquoise color, but it didn't. It's obviously, you can see it's nice and vibrant, but it does have that muted feel to it, which is beautiful. slate green. I just love how I'm going to drop the color here, and you can see it's like a build-up of the pigment. Very nice. Okay, now we're moving on to the greens. Or we already did, so this was one of the greens. There are 4 greens. So the second one is 09 Green Grey. Lovely color name. I'm just hoping I can squeeze in enough swatches here. This is pretty. This is like an olive. Next one is one of my favorites because I've tried it already. Meadow number 10. You can buy them open stock, by the way. I'll put the links